What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Today, man, we're going to go into a couple different prisons. You can see the thumbnail and you're probably like, damn, bro, why would you put that on the thumbnail? Well, because I think it's a catchy thumbnail, and we're going to get into some stories about people that do vicious things in prison. But how do they do it? Why do they do it? Boooty Bandits. People have asked me questions like, yo, man, if I ever went to jail and someone put a candy bar, and I'm getting this on an email, they put a candy bar on my bed, what should I do? Well, buddy, you should probably start swinging. But I'm going to keep it real. They don't do the old candy bar on the bed trick no more. That's like some stuff that used to happen back in like the movies in the 70s and stories they would tell you about prison. I don't even know if they're true, if anyone ever put a candy bar on your bed. And the crazy thing is when you first got to the FBOP, they would show you a video about stuff like that, right? Where a dude put a candy bar on the dude's bed. So anyone that's been there, if you remember that, that video, this is what you're supposed to do. Tell an officer. You're like, what? They're showing a video for like the 1978. This is your introduction to federal prison. You're like, yeah, okay, pal. Anyway, how do they do it, man? Why do they do it? We'll go into Big Sandy. We'll talk about some vicious things that happened there. We'll talk about a dude that pretty much jumped in a dude's bed. What happens when a dude jumps in your bed? You're cellmates, and the next thing you know, he's trying to cuddle you and hump you. You're like, what the? Mom, I'm about to cheer you. But anyway, yeah, man, wild things happen. It's not always the way that people think, right? I mean, are there dudes that do it in violent ways? Yeah, those things happen. Are there dudes that do it most of the time, kind of try to do it in a friendly way, or, kind of like a friendly extort you out of your cheeks, I guess you could say? Yeah, there's dudes that do that. A lot of times that's how it goes. Are there dudes that do things and try to use other things for an excuse why they do things? I think that happened in the Dana Mattingly case, right? People can Google that. United States versus Dana Mattingly, like Don Mattingly, USP Tucson. Because someone had questioned that story. Well, it's not a story, man. You can Google it. I was there when it happened. But anyway, let's go into Big Sandy, right? Let's talk a little bit about what happens over there. When I first get there, there's a kid named Skeeter from Tennessee. Skeeter, you know who you are, so if you're watching this show, you know it's true. Even though I seen you in USP Lee later on in life, and you said, man, that ain't how it happened, bro. That was a lie. Them dudes just used that as a reason to jump on me. Well, buddy, guess what? Whap, 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 whap. I'm not believing it, buddy. I didn't believe it then, not believing it now. So anyway, man, right when I first get there that first day, I kind of talk about it in the book, how they're rolling the dude away on the stretcher. There's a young white kid in there, man. And there's this kid, Skeeter, man. And Skeeter's pressing the young white dude, man. He act like he's his boy. Hey, what's up, bro? Making macaroni and cheese with pepperoni. Next thing you know, he's got him in the cell, man. He's like, yo, bro, start touching his legs. Like, yo, I'm trying to, And you're like, dude's probably like, oh, hell no. Trying to run up out of the cell, get out of there, whatever. But he does something that was kind of different, right? He was new to prison. Instead of going to the white dudes, he went to the Muslims. Probably seen stuff on movies like, whatever. People make mistakes when they first get to prison. Not on no racial shit, but that's how federal prison works. That's how a maximum security prison works. It's kind of like you stay with your own, you deal with your own. Back then, you would discipline your own. The cops want you to discipline your own people. They do some bullshit, crush them. The cops didn't care. Go ahead, do what you got to do. Get him out of here. He's creating trouble. So for an example, this guy, Skeeter, presses the white dude, causing some trouble. Kid goes to the Muslims. The Muslims go to the white dudes. They go to Stevie Burke. I believe they also went to, a couple of the other gang members. And they're like, yo, man, this white dude came to us and said that this is happening. And dude's like, okay. So what do? Stevie Burke puts a little team together. He puts a kid named ID from Georgia. Texas dudes kicked in a dude named Matt. We interviewed Matt. Remember Fat Matt? So we interviewed Fat Matt. Them dudes are out there fighting with the dude. I'm going to keep it real. They say, dude was kind of getting them. So then, Texas dude sent another dude in, Harley. Harley runs in there, boom, catches the dude, knocks him out. They start putting the boots to him, jumping on him, kicking him. And they rolled him out on a stretcher, man. All because he wanted, you know what he wanted to do. Don't pretend you don't. And that's kind of like the Boooty Bandits that are like, I'm just going to be nice to this guy and try to, hey, what's up, buddy? Next thing you know, he's giving you a massage. You're like, dude, we're in prison. What are you doing, man? Well, man, you better get up off me. So that dude gets crushed. And, of course, we heard the story about Big Sandy where, and, we put the pictures on the Discord. And, this ain't nothing against D.C. dudes, man. Straight up. I met a lot of good men from D.C. I get along with a lot of D.C. dudes. But in this particular case, man, we talked about the young kid, man. big DC dude, pretty much doing life, pressing this young dude from Nebraska. He's a Crip. I think he was from Nebraska. He's pressing him. And you know what, man? He's trying to get his ass. The dude ain't going for it, man. The dude's like, hell no. And he ends up taking his life, man. He leaves his blood on the razor wire. The big dude dies. The DC dude, he's dead, man. Got his pictures. We put him out there. And those are the Boooty Bandits that really, man, like they're on it. Like they're trying to take it, man. They want it. I'm taking this. And dude was like, man, that ain't going to happen, man. You ain't doing that to me. That ain't happening. So those are them type, right? And we can talk about the kid Daryl. We had Daryl on here. Remember, he's in the cell with his homie, dude from Boston, thinks he's a good dude. They're eating together. And dude's got the eyes for him, man. Pulls out that knife, was like, yo, bro, this is what it is. And dude admitted to this in the interview, right? So, dude, if you're sitting around and you're watching the channel and you're thinking, man, you're doing some wild shit out there, don't think that this stuff don't happen, man. They will take it by force or by kindness. However you want to give it up, they're going to take it. It ain't the old Snicker bar on the bed. They're going to get it. Or they're going to try. And then you might be in a position where, you know what? You're like, man, I ain't going for that. The next thing you know, man, you got another brand new bid. Ain't that crazy? They gave a kid another 25 years. And the government knew that this dude was trying to take his cheeks. They know. They know the truth. So, look, bro, you got a prior record. We're going to give you life if you blow trial. You want to take that chance? Or you want this 25 years? The dude took the 25 years. So anyway, now, man, we're going to go to FMC Lexington because that's really what the story is really about. We'll talk about Dana in a minute because there's also dudes like Dana that pretend they're doing a good thing. And really, bro, they had a different motive. But they want everyone to think they were doing a good thing. And really, he wasn't. He wasn't doing a good thing. So anyway, FMC Lexington, what's it really like? So there might be some dudes down there in your basement, man. You're playing around on your computer, and you will end up in FMC Lexington. That's where they'll send you your 10 or 15-year sentence when they catch your ass. But let me tell you what it's like, so you really got an idea. This is probably the most dangerous prison I've ever been to. And it was a low, right? Well, they say it's a low. It's a federal medical center. You get down low security points, this is where you're at. Full of SOs, but it's also full of dudes from all over the place. Different prisons, USPs. Guys that got life sentences, guys that got 50 years, 100 years. But why are they there? It's a medical center. None of the doors locked. All of the cell doors are just doors. It's like an old hospital, an old asylum, whatever you want to call it, right? Doors don't lock. And they put you in a cell, man. You might be in a cell with 6 beds. You might be in a cell with 4. You might be in a cell with 2, and the door never locks. And the cops over there, they don't really give a shit, right? No one cares. When they busted out with that PREA thing for the first year, they acted like they were implementing it, like they really care. This is what we're going to do. We're going to protect everybody. We're going to protect people's cheeks. Yeah, right. That lasted for about a year. And then they only started using that when, dudes might be beefing with the cops. You know what? I'm beefing with the cop. I'm going to say he grabbed my butt. They're down there lying, pretty much. You go down to the lieutenant's office, hey, man, cop. And they're like, you know what? We got you. We're going to do an investigation. But you're going in the hole for 6 months. They take your ass, put you in the hole for 6 months, and then they ship you, and nothing happens to the cop. That's the only time they started really implementing that stuff. So anyway, man, FMC Lexington got, man, maybe 200 dudes, maybe a little more, each unit, 1 cop, 3 floors. And now, look, this is how the prison is. Up, got floors over here, got floors over there, right? So what do you think's happening over there? A lot of SOs. And a lot of them dudes have the mind capacity of a child, man. Them dudes get in there and they act like they meet someone that's in there for the same thing that they're in, and they're like, man, I love this guy. Like, they're in there just, throw up a towel on their window, and they're in there doing their thing. But what about the guy who jumps in the dude's bed? What happens when someone jumps in your bed? What do you do? What are you going to do? So this is a little story, man, of a dude that was in a cell, white dude from Kentucky. He's in a cell with a guy that was from North Carolina. Dude from North Carolina is doing like 15 years, 922G. There's another white dude in there from Dayton named Tom. Tom's in the cell too. So the white dude, kind of older, maybe 45, a little goofy. He's like old school, man. Like, I don't know, when I looked at this dude, I thought about the dude that used to ride his motorcycle on the Bad News Bears, right? Got his hair feathered and whatever. So he don't want to be in this cell already, right? And the dude that he's in the cell with, he kind of has a reputation of being a boot bandit, man. He's got that reputation. And one night, dude sleeping in his underwear, them tighty whities, them joints you used to wear when you were a kid. When you get to federal prison, they give you a choice. You want boxers or you want tighty whities? Well, old boy, old country boy there with the feather, he chose what he knows. He chose them tidy whities. No one knows that he chose the tidy whities until this night. And you hear screaming. This is when I lived on the second floor. You hear, hey, hey! Everyone jumps up. They turn the lights on in the hallway. I open my door, man, rubbing my eyes. It's probably about 2, 3 in the morning. I'm rubbing my eyes, and I'm looking. I'm like, what the hell? Dude's running down the hallway in his tidy whities. No shirt on, no socks. He's all barefoot on him. He's running the wrong way. He runs to the bathroom. The dude comes out of the cell in his boxers, his white boxers. And this ain't on no racial shit, man, so don't leave them comments. This is just what happened. Black dude, bald head, in his boxers. He's like, man, what's going on, Tim? And I don't even remember if the dude's name's Tim, but Tim looks back, and Tim's like, man, you was kissing my neck. And you're like, what the fuck? He's standing at the door like, what? He's like, man, you jumped in my bed. You jumped in my bed, man. And dude's like, come on, man, stop acting like that, man. Like, man, you put a bad name on me, man. Don't be putting a bad bone on me. So now everybody's looking at this dude. Dude's embarrassed. He's the type of booty bandit that thought, man, hey, you know what? He must have been having a dream up there humping his pillow. And he's like, let me see if he wants me to hang out. He's like, what the? Some of the shit that you see in these places is just crazy. So anyway, they're kind of in the hallway arguing, man, at 2 in the morning. You think the cops show up? Hell no, they don't show up. They don't show up at all. So anyway, man, dude ends up coming down to his cell, puts on his clothes, puts on his socks, his shoes, lights are on, everybody's paying attention, like, yo, what's up? And, that's the one thing in prison, right? Especially a federal prison. Everybody tunes in, man. We live in a culture where people want to see violence, boxing, UFC. They want to hear the prison war stories, man. They want to see, animal attacks and, people fighting on World Star on your Twitter account. And, that's what people tune into, man. And in prison, man, whenever something exciting happens, people tune in. It takes you away from prison for the moment. And a lot of times you're like, man, I want to see this, man. And then later on that night sometimes, man, when you see something vicious, whether it's the big R or whether it's, someone getting hit up with a shank or someone getting bust upside the head with a lock, sometimes you lay in your bed at night, man. And you think like, damn, bro, that shit was crazy, man. Blood everywhere. And it does affect you. And I've talked about this before. It affects you mentally. It affects you emotionally. Sometimes you have a blackened heart. Sometimes you walk in there and you don't have a blackened heart. But as time goes by and you experience these things, your heart becomes black. You stop caring. Or sometimes your heart will become black. And then it'll change. It'll go back to, you know what, man, I just want to have some compassion. Sometimes you might be thinking, man, that could be me. That could be me on that side. That could be me getting stabbed. That could be me getting jumped by 5 people. That could be me getting hit in the head with a lock, blood all over the place. So anyway, man, everyone's tuned in. So dude probably feels safe where he can go into his cell, whatever, put his clothes on. And I'm going to keep it real. I've said this before. If dude really jumped on him and was trying to take his thing, I would have, not no tough guy shit, but I would have got involved, man. I don't care what color you are, black, white, Mexican. If we're in a penitentiary, probably not. But in a place like that, in a low, I would have got involved, man. I ain't letting no one just victimize someone, man, that don't deserve that. Let's just say it like that. Dude don't deserve that, man. I ain't letting it happen. It is what it is. I don't give a shit who you are. People I don't believe in that stuff. But anyway, dude goes in there, he gets dressed, man, puts his clothes on. He goes downstairs to the TV room. There's a bunch of TV rooms, right? TV room on the second floor, TV rooms on the first floor. He's down there in the big TV room. That's what we called it. He's down there in the TV room, first floor. He's waiting. He's waiting on something. You know what he's waiting on. He's waiting to go down to the lieutenant's office, man, and report this shit and get out of here or get dude out of here, right? He don't want no smoke. He don't want no trouble. He ain't trying to fight. He was trying to run. And that's what you got, man. You got a fight or flight attitude, right? His was flight. So he waits till the morning. And honestly, man, I've seen shit in the low where they're like, people will tell on you right in front of the cops. Like, Billy just hit me right in the face. He slapped the shit out of me. And you're like, oh, because this is a different environment, man. I was there for 9 months. The last 9 months of my bid. Different environment. So anyway, man, dude shoots over to the lieutenant's office, tells him what's going on. He comes back. He's uncomfortable. He's waiting around like, they're going to get rid of this guy. They're coming to get him. They never come get dude, man. They never come get the guy that jumped in his bed. He's still walking around the unit, beefing, acting like, man, dude's lying, man, putting a bad bone on me. Man, dude ain't shit. And then later that night, guess what? It's time to go into the cell. Dude's been talking to the counselor all day like, I got to move. And the counselor don't give a shit. The counselor was a dude who worked at Big Sandy once upon a time. He was there when Ace got shot. He was in the hospital with Ace when, they declared him dead, I believe. And he didn't like SOs, man. So he wouldn't do anything for it. I don't think this dude was an SO. But he didn't care about people, man. He didn't give a shit, man. You want to move cells? No, too bad. Once in a while, you might be able to hit the case manager up and make a move. They left that dude in the cell with that dude, man. That night, man, probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock, they do the count. What time did they do the count back then? 9 o'clock. They do the count at 9 o'clock, and the white dude wants a way out. He's like, hey, man, tell it didn't help. It didn't get him out of there. Didn't get the dude out. So what do you think happens? He tries to fight the dude. Finally, he's at the point where, hey, I'm hit. Dude ends up putting him in the sleeper hold, but he swings at the dude when they start doing the count. It's count time. Count time. He starts swinging. They start tussling in there, fighting, banging. They hit the deuces. The cops come. Now they both go to the hole. And here's the crazy part. They both go to the hole. There's no investigation as far as the other thing went, the old Boooty Bandit thing. They go to the hole, and they let the dudes out. And where do you think they put them? They bring them back to the same unit. They don't put them in the same cell, but they bring them back to the same unit. So, just think about that, man. You're at home, you're on that computer, you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing. You could end up in this environment. This is an environment where, dude, they're putting people's lockers. When you go by your commissary, you go to sleep, they'll put your locker on a dolly and ride that joint out of there, man. Right while you're sleeping, you wake up, your locker's gone. Your sneakers are gone, your lamp's gone, your fan's gone, your commissary's gone. This is where you're going, man. 10, 15-year sentence they're going to give you. Dudes are in there going to disrespect you, man. Slap you, kick you, punch you. So you should probably stop doing that stuff. But anyway, another story, man. This is probably one of the wildest ones I've ever seen. And I've actually was there when this happened, right? Like I actually seen this in my unit, seen dude come out of the shower and just like, what the fuck is going on? There's a kid, man, we called Spiderman. I hate admitting this, right? Kid's from Rochester. Catches his case in Carolina. He's in Raybrook, acting like he's that dude, man. Dreads, always working out. But something's up with him, man. He starts kicking it with this kid we had in the unit that was a Pisa named Cookie. Yeah, Cookie. So when we say the name Cookie, you already know what time it is with Cookie, right? Cookie was you know what he was. He was a man that said he was stuck in a woman's body. So anyway, I guess, man, they kind of got something going on, right? Nobody really knows because dudes like, dudes be faking in there, man. A lot of times dudes are like, man, shit, I ain't on no ass, bro. And really you are, man. You're all the way on it. And then you see stuff going on, you're like, man, that dude's a piece of shit. But really, man, he's the dude. So anyway, man, one day, Cookie's in the shower. He's taking a shower. He comes running out of the shower. And this is why we gave the other kid from Rochester the name Spiderman. Cookie runs out of the shower butt-ass naked, like, hey! In broken English, hey, jump in the shower with me. And Cookie is actually cellmates with the shot caller for the Pisces in our unit. And he just took him as a cellie to make sure he was okay and other people didn't disrespect him. The Pisces allow people like that in their car. Nothing against the Pisces, but this is what they do. So anyway, man, dude comes running out, man, butt-ass naked, bro. In prison. He's butt-ass. He runs out. Long story short, the Kid Spiderman had jumped over the shower wall. So in the showers in Raybrook, at the end of the tier, there's two showers. Boom. This is like at the old Olympic Training Center. And then at the top of the shower, there's a big space, right? You can throw shit over. Hey, man, shoot your shampoo. Yeah, all right. So anyway, man, dude climbed up over the wall and climbed in the shower with the dude. But it turns out they had already had some stuff going on where he had sent him money and was, doing his thing. And then he ran out of money. And he still wanted, he wanted dude to be his. So he jumps over the wall, jumps in the shower with dude. Dude was like, man, you got no pesos? I ain't got no culos. And he ran up out of the shower screaming, yelling, big thing. And I talked about the kid A on here, right? So A's got the car for the New York dudes. And dude's like, man, dude's from Rochester, man. So A and them are like, yo, bro. He was the type of dude who wanted to politic everything, man. A was a politician, like, yo, dude's got to go. But he would, he would pull the trigger. He would tell people, yo, handle that business. Yo, do this, do that. He'd get on dudes. He'd make dudes do things, right? And dudes would do them. They would listen. So they pretty much tell dude, like, yo, bro, you're out of here, homie. And the Mexicans are pissed off. The Pisces are pissed off. They want a meeting. They're all in the quiet room having a meeting, talking about it. Other dudes are out there chuckling. But, this is what Boooty Bandits are. This is what they do. You know, you might hear some prison stories, dudes that were in like Lowe's and FCIs and, or did a year or two, and they tell you a story. And these are real stories, man. These aren't made up stories. These are things that really happen in there, man. Really happen. So anyway, man, Spider-Man, he's out of here, man. They politic, he's out of here. Pisces are happy. Cookie goes back to living his life, being a cookie. So now let's talk a little bit about Dana Mattingly. Dana Mattingly probably did one of the most vicious things you could ever imagine. And you know what? They do it under a guise, right? Probably mispronounced that word, but anyway. They do things where he's like, yo, man, dude was a SO, man, and this is why I did that. So he lures dude into the cell, right? Dude's an SO. He's on the SO side. Dana Mattingly's on the SO side at USP Tucson. This is when it first was bringing everybody in there. That put me around other folks. So anyway, he gets him in the cell. Says, yo, man, I'm going to pay you, man. I want to put on that funky Cole Medina, man. I want to put on that Tone Loc and do the wild thing. The dude's like, all right, buddy. So he gets him in the cell. Gets the kid in the cell. He ties him up. Gives him the stabs, ties him up. And then he brutally assaults this dude, man. Brutally assaults him and takes his life. Takes his life. So remember this now. You're downstairs in your mama's basement. They got a place for you. Sometimes 15 years could cost you your life. 10 years could cost you your life. You see what Richard did? We had Richard on for an interview. Hit dude up 70, 80 times. We posted the pictures on the Discord. This is prison, man. These are the things that happen. He takes the 2 deodorant bottles. He tapes them up. I probably should pull the case and look at the criminal complaint and post it. Because someone's like, I heard that story. Okay, but I was there when it happened. I knew Dana personally. I was out there when he'd do 1,000 burpees a day in the rec cage. I was there. Whitey Bulger was there. We were all there at this time. The kid Coleslaw, we talked about him. He got out and did some vicious things in Florida. So anyway, Dana goes in there, man. He tapes up them deodorant bottles, tells the dude, man, be quiet, man. Don't say nothing. I'm going to take your eyes out. Dude's trying to scream, man. He shoves a sock down his throat, takes the 2-degree deodorant bottles, tapes them together, and puts them in his prison suitcase and does some vicious things to the dude. And Dana didn't end up going to trial. I think he cops out and gets a life sentence over there, right? But why didn't he go to trial? Because he don't want you to know all the details. He don't want you to know that he probably engaged in some kind of misconduct, we'll say. For YouTube policy, we'll say it was misconduct. He obviously went in there and did some bad things, but his story is, no, bro, I tied the dude up. I was in the hole with this dude. I talked to him every day. We're in a rec cage. He's in this rec cage. I'm in this rec cage. We talk back and forth. And his story is, nah, bro, dude was an asshole. I took him in there, bro, and I did this and I did that. He deserved every bit of it, bro. But really, man, it was him and his own sick mind. He was already serving life. I think he had life in Kentucky or life in Florida in the state. And he didn't want to go back. He'd rather stay in the feds. So what did he do? Took advantage of dude, man. Crushed him and took his life, left his blood on the razor wire. Just finished him right there. It's all over with, bro. It's all over with. And I think dude was on a violation. You come back to prison on a post-supervised release violation. Some dude ties you to the bed and takes your life. But before he takes your life, he puts you through some atrocities, man. He puts you through some violence, man. He puts you through some things you could have never imagined would happen to you. And that's what I mean about these dudes, man. They got 14-year-old mind, 15-year-old mind. What the hell are you thinking, man? You're in prison letting a dude tie you up? Come on, let's do it. For $100 for 20 books of stamps, 25 books of stamps? He manipulated you for that? And then what does Dana do when he's done? He takes his stamps back, leaves dude tied up, and goes out to the yard and starts playing poker. Like it's nothing, man. Sick mind, right? He's out there playing poker. He comes back, the cop doing the count, opens the door, sees dudes, ah! Cop starts screaming, hits the deuces, they come, they call recall. Yard recall. That means everybody has to come back to the unit. Something happened. Usually when it's yard recall, something bad happened. You're probably getting locked down. He walks in, he tells the cop, you don't have to look for him. It was me, I did it. What? What? Imagine if you worked there and someone came and told you that. You don't have to look for him. It's me, man. And then they take old Dana off to the shoe. Eventually, he ends up copping out. I'm going to check and see if he's in the ADX. He probably is, probably should be. I remember the SIA talking to him at rec. What is the SIA? He's like the agent. He's the guy that when you commit a crime in federal prison, he comes to court and testifies on it. He's the guy that puts all the investigation together with the SIS officers, and he comes and testifies. And he says, to date, I'm going to make sure you're never around anyone ever again. Ever again. And you know, the BOP, they say that sometimes, but it doesn't always work that way. Just had a murder at USP Pollock. We might do a story on it. SO gets killed by another SO, a dude that's been known to massacre his cellies, a dude that was in the ADX already, gets killed at C Unit. The cops don't find the dude for what? 3 days. Can you imagine that? 3 days? Dude's been laying in the bed, lights out for 3 days. Finally, some cops do an account, says, hey, let me see you move your arm. Sometimes you get cops that do that, that'll do their job. They want to see you moving. In the penitentiary, everyone's supposed to stand up for the stand-up count, right? They say, I'll stand-up count in the pen. People are like, man, F you, ain't standing up. And then sometimes the cops come out and be like, they'll bang on your arm, make you stand up. Or they'll say, hey, move your arm. They won't leave your door. They'll keep kicking your door. You think you're sleeping, taking a nap? They're waiting on you, man, to move. Dude didn't move. What do you think they do? All right, right down the cell, finish the count, come back up there, dude's dead. This is federal prison, folks. This is the place you want to be? You know, we could talk about it. People are like, man, you telling these stories, it don't change no one, it don't save no one. I bet you it does. Plenty of people write me and say, man, I don't never want to be there. Me personally, I don't ever want to go back. Blood on the Razor Wire TV, with respect, until tomorrow, we're out.